Good morning. Welcome. It's a pleasure to see so many people interested in using Skype for Business Enterprise Voice, replacing your PBXs with Skype for Business Enterprise Voice. It's fantastic to have such a great audience. Thank you. I'm mostly the MC today. We have a great panel of 4 customers and 1 partner who have gone or are going through that journey. And what I'm going to try and do is get as much as I can out of the way so they can share their experience with you. Again, thank you very much. Quick show of hands, who's either starting or contemplating a PBX replacement project with Skype for Business at this point? Wow. Okay, that's very comforting. That's about 15 years of my life. So thank you. Well, here's what we're going to do from a format point of view. I'm going to spend probably about 5 minutes setting this up, and then we'll have the customers come one by one, tell you a little bit about their journey, and then we'll do a little bit of a panel. We'll bring the chairs a bit forward and hopefully take questions, time permitting. Good? Let's do it. The first thing I want to tell you is if you're contemplating PBX replacement with Skype, you're right. You're not alone, and you're making a choice that a lot of customers have made, and that is validated by the marketplace. So I want to reassure you that your choice is the right one. Doesn't necessarily mean it's all easy. You know, it's a complex journey, and fortunately, we've done a lot of those, and we have great partners, SI partners, equipment partners, and so on that have gone through that journey with us. Skype is a little bit unique in the sense that it's an ecosystem, and that aspect of the ecosystem is really important. Feature completeness and some of those aspects do come also in that context. It's also a different user experience, and that change management, the change management that goes with that is quite important. I'm sure we'll talk about that with the panelists. Not going to go through those numbers, but the point here is we've actually changed the market, and changed the market to the extent that it's impacting other players in the marketplace. Those are industry numbers and market share numbers on shipments, where we are clearly ahead of the pack in terms of line shipment. So what is it that Skype for Business Enterprise Voice represents? We do have a range of capabilities, both on pure on-prem, pure online, hybrid. Today, I'm going to spend time on the on-prem a little bit more. That's because the 4 panelists we have are deployed on-prem. We had a session yesterday afternoon with Ida Buchtin, with 4 customers who are deployed online. And if you're interested in online, I refer you to that session, the recording of that session. Great panel as well. One of the advantages of the on-premises solution when people look at PBX replacements is that it's been around a little bit longer. So from a maturity and completeness point of view, it's actually still a little bit ahead. That's not going to last forever. We're going to catch up as well on the online space, but it's still a little bit ahead in terms of feature completeness. And so it really is capable of doing very complex PBX replacement projects. And that's what we're going to be talking about today with the panelists, together with the rich ecosystem. And that maturity and that richness, so it's a little bit of an eye chart, and it's not intended to read each and every one. By the way, the deck will be available for download, obviously. But that's not intended to read each and every one little feature on this list, of course. But it's to show you the trajectory we've gone through over the past 15 years or so, close to that. There's even a version before that in 2003 that I didn't put on the chart. But that trajectory has been made up of building progressively a very comprehensive voice solution in 2 main categories. One, which is the capabilities that Microsoft delivers out of the box. The second one, which is very, very important as well, is the ecosystem that we have around us, whether that's contact centers, whether that's, of course, network partners and interconnectivity partners, whether that's devices partners, phones, headsets, those kind of things. The completeness that we have today with the inclusion of those partners puts me at ease in saying that there is no project we cannot take. You know, whether that's in the banking space where we have quite a few projects going on right now, defense, industry, and we'll talk about that today. This is really the brief introduction I wanted to provide. With this, what I think is more important, what you want to hear is the experience of our customers. I'm going to welcome Silvina Petersilj. I'm going to butcher your name, I apologize. Petersilj from BNSF. And get this. It should be on. Yeah.
There. Hello, I'm Silvina Petersolch. I'm the Director of Telecom Engineering for BNSF Railway. BNSF is a Class 1 railroad. We operate from the Midwest to the west side of the U.S. We are primarily domestic. We have about 180 sites where we have a PBX of some sort. Those are typically by trackside, so they are in very dispersed locations. The infrastructure is aging. We've been looking at our age of the PBXs. Some of them are older than our youngest engineers. So we had to, a few years back, we started planning the migration. At that time, we selected Skype to be, or Link at that time, to be the solution to replace them. For us, it was a natural progression, given that we have been in the OCS, Link, Skype early on. We have about 30,000 digital and analog extensions. We are very voice-centric, a lot of conference, a lot of analog, a lot of faxing. We always say that if, for some reason, the railroad, we have a problem with the systems, we can run the railroad on a fax. So we started this year to actually, we migrated to Skype, and from there, we're really focused on migrating the site. We have 7 sites already and 5 more planned for this year. About 4,700 Skype phones, and our strategy was to remove a phone and put a phone back. We wanted to expand on the features for Skype, but we wanted to keep the current use cases as is. A lot of them are common area phones in the field. We have a 24/7 operations where most of our users are shift workers. So it's a phone and one person comes and always the same number. We have about 300 faxes and a lot of analog lines, and we do a lot with analog. We do gates, so opening gates, we paging, we do SCADA, so we're heavy in analog. We did implement several of the Skype features like boss admin, we have response group, we have call recording, and we have put SBAs with PRI for survivability so far. So we take this year as our pilot year, just try to get a rhythm and start really focusing next year to move the 170, starting the 170 that we have remaining. We do want to change a little bit the architecture, maybe going more on a centralized SIP trunk, trying to get rid of the PRIs where we can pour the numbers, and we are going to start the commissioning our PBXs. So it wasn't an easy path. We did have our challenges. Since we use our Skype implementation as really a PBX replacement, we had to augment Skype with all the partner and the ecosystem. So we have phones, we have call recording, we have gateways, we have drivers for BTOE, and that was challenging. When something didn't work, what was the problem? So there you have a bunch of vendors and a bunch of engineers trying to figure out. So that is a challenge for us. We did our first approach was not to put SBAs and put everyone in the polls, and the first time that we patched, all the phones rebooted. So that wasn't well received by our but our 24/7 operation. Not that interrupted them, but it really caused some kind of a commotion. The monitoring and troubleshooting end-to-end is because of our complexity. That is a challenge. At this point, we are trying to see what we can do with our shift workers, trying to give them something more than just the phone, because that's what we have. We can provide them today. We cannot provide any other channel like IM. The successes is that really, like Francois mentioned, we were able to solve all the use cases so far. So one way or the other one, we can make it work. When we go to the sites and we take a phone and put a phone, we actually go through a training, try to get our users to adopt more than just the phone, and see if they can they leverage the online meetings, the desktop share, or the video, and slowly they are getting there. So that the adoption is increasing in those channels. Lessons learned. It really is important to have the visibility of the network end-to-end. We really need to put a lot of captures, make sure that we can trace the calls when we have one-way audio or drop calls. We can figure out what's the problem. And most of the time, my network team is not here, so most of the time, the issue tends to be or the network, or the wiring, or the firewall. So getting to get those things at the beginning, they spike when we convert the sites. We have the Skype configuring a VMware, so it took some tinkering to make it work. So we suggest that make sure that you follow to the T's the link server 2013 virtualization guidelines. And the same thing with the security. Our security team wanted to follow the CIS security benchmark, but really it didn't quite work well with Skype, so we had to follow the Microsoft security recommendations. So I think that if you follow the book, you're pretty much set. So so far so good.
Thank you, Silvina. And we'll have questions for Silvina a little bit later. Now it's my pleasure to welcome Joe Millage from Cargill.
Anybody from Cargill here? I told them they had to come and clap, so thanks for coming. My name is Joe Millage with Cargill, and it's fitting to follow the railroad because that's what Cargill did back in the late 1800s. We just followed the railroad across the U.S. and set up grain storage facilities all the way. So I like to say, if you don't know about Cargill, what I like to say is if you ate it, we made it. We are a provider of food and agricultural products, so we are the ones that supply some of the national vendors or national manufacturers that you probably are quite aware of. We are the world's largest privately owned company. We have over 160,000 employees, 1,200 locations, and we operate in 70 countries. We've been in business for 152 years, and much like Sylvia said, we have 152 phone system varieties, and our oldest one is probably 152 years old. So we are on-prem, as Francois said, and these are all on-prem installs. We have 5 pools set out globally, 80,000 knowledge workers for the clients in those, across those 5 pools. Our conferencing scenario is that we do about 25 million minutes of conferencing every month. We're federated with over 400 companies, and that continues to grow at a very fast rate. As far as our enterprise voice users go, we have 8,000 users today. It's rapidly growing, and by the end of this fiscal year, we'll be at around 13,000 enterprise voice. And then from the video perspective, we're really pushing the video. I heard Accenture several years ago say at a conference that video is the new voice, and that they're really pushing to use video more and more in their meetings because they feel like there's less multitasking and that meetings can wrap up sooner. But really at Cargill, we're doing it because we're looking at data and analytics from Skype and saying who is conferencing or using Skype the least and traveling the most. So we're taking data and analytics from the travel office, and we're taking data and analytics from Skype, and we're looking at that disparity and saying where can we improve on user adoption and cut our travel spend and our travel budget. And so we have deployed 8 immersive telepresence rooms in the last year. And in fact, those have already paid for themselves. You know, those are very expensive rooms, and they fully integrate with Skype for Business. So our voice progression starts, and this is probably very similar to what everyone else has done so far. We started with our proof of concept back in 2011, and then dipped our toe in the water and said, let's go see if we can do this at some of our remote sites, small sites, low risk, low cost. And so we did it at sites of 25 users or less. Then we went to, and there was some major office remodeling happening at our corporate offices, and we said, let's now try it with our wireless first floors and install enterprise voice in our open office environments. About that same time, we installed SmartTap from Audio Codes and got recording going for our traders and those that are required for recording. And then finally, just this year, we installed Skype Enterprise Voice at our large plant locations. And just a little bit more about that real quick, because Francois's got the stopwatch on us here. We just completed 9 sites in North America where we moved off of a fairly large PBX, and the goal was to try to get it done over just a few months' time and get it done before harvest season. And so those are actually wrapping up. About 3,000 users, 1,000 analog, and just like Sylvia, we do use a lot of analog at these locations. 600 common area phones and 20 response groups. And our team, we had just a very minimal team, it seemed, 4 on-site, a couple of off-site support, and then we just asked our employees to help us out. If it was placing a phone, since we're not tracking MAC addresses, the employee knows how to plug a phone in just like they can plug in their computer. And we also hired Audio Codes Professional Services to come on-site and augment and help us out with these and have expert help there. So you can see we went from some of our large PBX locations, we went from 144 square feet in some of our locations down to about 12 RU. And you can see our high density analog gateways right there on the right. And my last slide, the lessons learned, a lot of self-service. We felt the employees could help us with placing phones. We felt like because Skype sort of gives you everything, and because of the self-service, there's not a big need to do a lot of station reviews, we felt. In some cases, there would be for special cases. And because our employees were already using the client for instant messaging and presence, it was sort of easy just to move them into enterprise voice and expanding the ecosystem. It's estimated at Cargill that of those 80,000 knowledge workers, 25% of their time is already spent in Skype for meetings, instant messaging. So it plays a very big role. The other thing is to set the expectations with your users. So in that phone system you saw on that previous slide was put in 1999. That was the year I was hired at Cargill, and we just told our users, listen, this phone system is 18 years old. Things are going to be a little bit different. So set the expectation that it is a new generation phone system. You're going from basically dial tone to something that will give you a lot better collaboration capabilities.
I love that quote. And by the way, this is one of the challenges. People expect sometimes exactly the replication.
Yes. Yeah. And then just to wrap it up here, we felt like connecting PRIs between the PBX and our gateways was important just in case something was missed, or you can do it if you just want to convert a department at a time. Because if you pipe that PRI or that SIP trunk into your gateway, you can have it do an Active Directory lookup. And it's just looking for that RTC SIP attribute in Active Directory. If the attribute comes back and says, yes, he's an enterprise voice user, then the call goes Skype. If the attribute says not found, comes back not found, the gateway will easily route that back out to your old PBX, and so you can have both going at the same time. And so we used Audio Codes to help us with that. So lastly, the things that were maybe a little bit more painful, some similar to what Sylvia had. Response groups, sometimes a little cumbersome, and especially if you're just needing them for basic hunting. And then I would just maybe add, in addition to the list you see here, our BTOE connector. I wish that was easier to administer. We have questions about, well, who's going to administer that? Is that our UCC team or is that the client team? And a BTOE connector is a solution that enables the client on the desktop, on the phone on your desk, to be in sync and talk to each other over Ethernet. Yep. And Francois, I think that's basically it, so thank you. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Wow, you've got quite a fan club here. Well, it's my pleasure to welcome Yasmin Gokovic from Bosch. Welcome, and you have one of the largest potential deployments and in-process deployments around here, I think.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Yasmin Gokovic. I'm from Bosch IT. A little bit of Bosch Group. I think everybody knows Bosch for the power drills and dishwashers, but we do a lot more than that. We have 4 stacks: mobility, industrial, technology, energy, building, and consumer goods. Mobility is our solution that provides parts and solutions for the cars and all other vehicles. Industrial technology is something like packaging systems and more. Energy and building, we have thermotech related to heating and cooling. And then consumer goods, everybody has probably used one of our power drills or something else. If you can go to the next.
Yep, and you're the technical lead for Skype, yeah?
Yes, I'm the technical lead for Skype build. So these are some key figures. We have started our journey in 2014 with Skype. Before then, we had a mishmash of Avaya PBX, Siemens PBX, and a homegrown Bosch UC solution, which was developed in-house, as well as WebEx for our online conferencing. So that was one of the main reasons why the management went in search for a complete solution for unified communication, and found that Skype at the time, or Link at the time, was the best way to go. You can look at some of the figures here. We have 10 pools and growing to expand to 12 over all our regions globally. Some of the numbers here that I'll mention are 304,000 users rolled out, 210 active users every 1,000 active users every day. We are averaging about 71 million minutes per month, in conferencing minutes, that is. And our current enterprise voice enabled user number is up there, 74,000 and growing. We are planning to do close to, I believe, 150,000 enterprise voice enabled users. That's the latest.
Oh.
All right. So that's the latest number, and it's going to grow, I think, even further because Bosch is known to acquire companies and grow their product portfolio.
Yasmin, I do feel compelled to ask you a question because the pace of the growth is quite substantial. When I look at, about a year ago you were at 7,000, now you're at 75,000.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit? I mean, I'm going into the Q&A a little bit, but still strikes me,
Yes, we have developed a kind of like a factory line rollout procedure with many parties involved. We are, our IT department is very large, and we have engaged resources from each IT silo to join our Skype for Business rollout task forces, and in each region, on each continent, which is centrally managed and controlled out of Germany. It's a very large project, but we have partnered with Audio Codes and Avaya. We are a two-vendor solution company. Everything we do is always, all suppliers are two-vendor suppliers. That's the mantra at Bosch. So currently we are using Avaya and Audio Codes. Avaya has helped us a lot with speeding up the process of enterprise voice rollouts because, like I said, we've had Avaya and there's still a large number of Avaya PBX exclusive seats at Bosch. So, talk about future, we are, as probably all of us here in the room, thinking about the next, what's version next, and how Skype is gonna evolve. We are doing Teams pilot, of course. Unfortunately, we are only on-prem. We are going to evaluate the cloud solutions and try to dabble into that. And we are also looking for a strong contact center partner. Currently, all our contact center solutions are Avaya only. There's no interrupt with Skype in that side. Other than that, I think that's about it.
Thank you very much. Eugene. It's my pleasure to welcome another customer, industrial customer with strong German base, Eugene Kozol from
Hello.
ZF.
I hope you guys are having a great conference and hope you're enjoying the session so far. My name is Eugene Koziol. I work for ZF. It's pronounced ZF because it's German and British say ZF as well as the Germans. A little about me real quick. I studied math and German. I've been 10 years in IT as a network and systems admin, doing a number of projects. I'm a Detroiter for life. I don't know if there's any Detroiters here. Respect. Okay, and that's about it. There's me and my wife from Coney Island. This summer. Who is ZF? So we are a global leader in driveline and chassis technology, as well as active and passive safety technology. We have around 136,000 employees as of 2016, and 230 sites across 40 countries. So we're a very, very global entity. Our current kind of Skype landscape with the migrations, we've got 45,000 users on premise. We also have 33,000 users in Office 365. We've migrated 16,000 users in 50 sites already to Skype for Enterprise Voice, and we're in the process of moving forward with another 50 that are either underway or planned. So our telephony landscape in the beginning, is for most large entities, was a patchwork of either regionally centralized PBX solutions. Mostly for us was HighPath or OpenScape Voice, but we also had Cisco and some Avaya and Nortels that may have been standalone at some of our sites. Our current state with the project is you've kind of seen, like I think we broke ground around the beginning of March, April 2015, but there was a 4 or 5 year sort of conception and development of the project to get it to that point. It took us around 8 to 9 months to really finalize the infrastructure, and then we started, I think, around April, May 2016 with focusing on our European sites. We wrapped up our European sites in 2017, and then we've also now kicked off at the beginning of this year our phase 2, which is now the rest of the world rollouts, which we've already completed 12 of these 22 and plan to keep moving forward throughout the remainder of this year, and the same thing on in the next year. Just a quick little stats down there at the end where we've got 16,000 voice users, but a number of additional analog common area phones, those kinds of things. So our future strategy is to finish the job. We want to complete every site to get on to Skype for Business for Voice. The 33,000 Office 365 Skype Online accounts we have came from our acquisition of Tier W Automotive in 2015, and we're in the process of setting up hybrid mode in order to leverage some synergies there. Once that's in place, we're working on a pilot of Cloud PBX and Cloud Connector, as well as most people found out, we need to add a pilot of MS Teams to the project plan for next year. Why we chose Skype for Business, the key thing I'd want to say here is that for us, it wasn't necessarily looking for the best telephone or PBX platform. We were interested in what is the best unified communications platform, and we found that in Skype for Business through this one client for all your communication needs, that you don't have to switch apps to go from a chat to voice to a video conference, or that you can immediately start collaborating with your end users. I think this, obviously, it was the best integration with MS Office for some reasons, but our users that were part of various pilots with different platforms also confirmed our findings in this, and it's been a great journey so far. The key reasons for our success, I think compared to maybe some other organizations, we had no enterprise-wide chat solution. We had an antiquated web conferencing tool. This had a lot of demand as long as the evolution of the modern workforce and wanting more mobility. And our project really revolutionized and transformed our entire company and the way they work and function. And that was key, that we already had that demand from the end users. We weren't forcing it on them. Having a comprehensive communication plan, as you've heard, whether on-site and remote trainings we had done, we documented just about in a clear, easy-to-follow way all the basic functions a user would want, and we translated that into 7 languages and have that on our central intranet. As you also heard, standardizing a migration approach is key. When it came to end devices, we wanted to have a small basket of the devices that we had tested in order to offer those to the end users, and having clear roles and responsibilities, which is what we expected out of the local site contacts, what we expected out of our internal IT, and what we expected out of our partners that were involved. And last but not least to mention, we've had some great partners in British Telecom and Unify Square helping us along the way. So the key challenge is, some of you heard that there's a number of missing PBX features that aren't part of the basic vanilla out-of-the-box Skype for Business deployment. Whether this is this boss admin kind of feature that a lot of our administrative assistants and secretaries had to contact center, to switchboard or attendant councils, that made this journey have a lot of difficulty for us to continue to integrate those products. And unlike, I think, a classical PBX that you just sort of have maybe your PSTN connection and maybe some network things to look at, this touches every component you could possibly imagine of your IT infrastructure. So having those teams involved and having them, getting to that point where you can troubleshoot those things, I think requires a little bit of evolution and maturity and operational rigor. And as you heard too, having an end-to-end monitoring solution is something we keep driving towards, but you always end up needing to, find some other tool to look at, whether it's on the gateway or the server side. So our main lessons learned were definitely standardized. The more you can standardize on server hardware, on end devices, you eliminate complexity that will come later. You want as standard of a solution as you can get. Training and communication is definitely key. This repeatable process that we really tried to hammer out in the beginning with our first couple sites. And the last thing I would really encourage you is that you can begin preparing for this today, whether cleaning up your address book or getting QoS implemented on your LAN, making sure you've got sufficient bandwidth. All that stuff took us, I think, a good year or two in advance, to where when we got time to migrate sites, we had already done all that stuff, and it made the transformation a lot simpler. I think the most satisfying for us was really two quotes we got from our top senior executives, and this is my translation of the German, so bear with me. But without Skype for Business, that I would not be able to do my job today, and other executives expressed the same. That was a great thing for us to hear, and that this was such a significant value add from IT for the entire organization, that we should be proud and celebrate of that. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Eugene. And in a little bit of a contrast, we're going to ask Eric to come and tell us a little bit his view from a partner's point of view in terms of how this is working. We've spoken quite a bit about the fact that this is an ecosystem, and you play a significant role in that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you, Francois, and thanks everybody. And a lot of people have talked about their deployments, the legacy they're coming from. We haven't been supporting PBXs for 152 years, so the original ones you guys had. But AudioCodes has been in the business of voice enabling Microsoft really since those first gateways came about in OCS R2, I think 2007, and have just over the last 5 years deployed more than 11 million VoIP gateway ports, showing how the PBX and the PBX replacement through Skype for Business has really become something that's really viable and something that's really growing, right? We work in over 100 different countries. We have over 1 million SBC deployments yearly, and are really voice enabling 10+ million enterprise voice seats throughout there, helping a lot of these customers up here with those challenges, with that analog, with that fax, all the way through to the device layer, and really addressing some of those. So really helping to fill in some of the gaps to make it that viable PBX solution.
Very good. Thank you very much, Eric. So this is time for you to work. Please come up to the microphone if you don't mind, but questions for the panel, please.
For Cargill and then for all of you. First question is, are the traders using Skype for Business? And the second question is, who's running the thing? Is it the UCC team or the client team in the IT?
On the BTOE, on the second question, or the recording?
Who's running the entire show, is that right?
Yeah. Skype.
Oh, okay. All right. First question, originally, until we got SmartTap deployed for Skype for Business, we would not allow someone to move off of the Cisco platform, where we have the recording with a different provider.
We might want to switch that microphone off.
So once we got SmartTap installed on Skype for Business, we were able to move those traders off of their former phone system. And then, yeah, the UCC team, which some of them are here today, are the ones that support the platform. And can you repeat the question for the rest? Same question?
Yeah, can we, I apologize, want to move on with as many questions as we can.
This is really for all of you, but I'm wondering if you've had strategies or challenges for managing or standardizing codecs and bandwidth usage for the different conferencing, peer-to-peer, those kinds of things.
I mean, for us, I think when from our Cisco deployments or these, we went through that phase, but like the out of the box with either, I mean, you had RT audio, RT video with Skype, and then Silk, that those kind of, we haven't had to really tweak those at all. That it's very simple for us, like I think in that regard compared to the other PBXs we were supporting.
And if I may ask as well, Eric, do you know customers who actually go and try and manage actively codecs? I don't personally, but.
No, not actively manage it. I mean, with Silk support and some of the ones that Microsoft, right, inherently pass through and just support those instead of actively managing.
I would just add that we purpose-built the WANs for the codecs that are being used, but we noticed when Skype came out, we noticed a decrease in our port call percentage because of the Silk codec being moved up the ladder, so to speak.
I just wanted to say too, we got a lot of feedback how much better the audio quality was coming from G729 or some of those things to Silk, and that was good feedback for us.
Yeah, we also noticed one thing. We also noticed the bandwidth consumption has increased as we introduced Skype for our web conferencing and obviously voice, but mostly in relation to web conferencing. We use WebEx, which is in the cloud, so to speak. We don't have any on-premise, had no on-premise WebEx stuff. So this is where we have, when we did our network analysis, saw that the bandwidth increase was about double or triple at some time in relation to WebEx.
Yeah, quick question. I think it wasn't clear regarding...
I'm not sure we can hear you.
Closer?
Yeah, if you speak in it, we can.
Okay. I think it wasn't, so thank you very much for sharing this with us. What is your experience or challenges regarding soft phones? Because I think it wasn't clear, because I've heard some of you using actually hard phones. What is the value? What is your experience with implementing soft phone from the user's perspective? And the user experience is also a side question about if any of you are actually using VDI for that.
Silvana, you did make the choice of going with hard phones for pretty much every replacement. You want to comment on why, and then we can go to people who made different choices?
Yes, we did that for just the ease of transition and kind of not to impose the users. It's just the type of workforce that we have. But actually, as we give them the phone, we actually explain to them, like, if you do it with a headset, this is your experience. So slowly the people are transitioning, and we give away. It's just if you come to the training, we give you a headset, and it's easier to support. To be honest with you, a headset with a PC is much easier to support than a phone. So if it will be for us, we'll go that direction. It's just in our case, it takes time for the users to transition to a headset instead of a phone.
Our strategy at Bosch was primarily soft client. Our goal was, I think, 90-10, soft client versus hard phones. And we have pushed, our challenges were user acceptance. Everybody wants the same thing that they had. Also, in some way, the dependency on the machine as well as the headset. Fighting for resources on the local machine. We've had some challenges with provider software, headset provider software like Jabra or Plantronics, tweaking little things here and there. So overall, a good rollout for us, but not without challenges.
What about VDI? Anyone using VDI?
We are not, we have it. It's available with a limited resources or limited functionality on that side, mainly for no enterprise voice yet, as I'm aware. But it's there. We have it. We support it. It's not hugely used, but it's not an issue that is on our ticket load.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just real quick, we anticipated, I think, 60-40 split for headsets versus headsets versus IP phones. We ended up with we offered the users a choice and ended up with 90% headsets. The challenge there where we postponed some site migrations because they needed to do a hardware refresh, as he was mentioning, with some older laptops and devices. And VDI we did test out with Citrix, got it working great, but our strategy hadn't been to evolve that platform inside our company, so we haven't done anything further with it.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
My question is about unified messaging and whether you're using the Exchange Online platform to deliver that with the on-premise solution, or if you're using Exchange on-premise or some other solution, how if you've utilized like auto attendance or any of those things within the Exchange platform.
Sure. So we have Exchange on-premise. Our Exchange team has started the hybrid cloud journey. We're in the process of testing that out. We have a number of sites now using auto attendance routing through Exchange, and the comment I would say there is pay attention to the latency that you've got, because our Exchange environment is central, and some sites in Mexico, for that to ring into them, it adds a little bit of delay, but overall it's been a great experience. We were concerned with WAN outages, if that would go down, and we've worked with audio codes to get the sort of another failover number to route to an operator extension and solve that issue.
on-prem, and about half of our mailbox users are in the cloud, about 45,000. So.
We have in Office 365. We migrated there when they migrated Exchange.
So the Skype is on-premise and it connects
Skype
up
is on-premise and is on the cloud.
Thank you.
When you talked about the bandwidth with the amount of users that you guys have, but do you also use all of the other features with Link, like the whiteboard and the video conferencing, and then also to be able to share files through Link as well? And if you are, how does that affect your bandwidth?
So our users use the online meeting. They are not very keen on the video. They do. I'm not sure about whiteboarding, but they do use online meeting quite a bit. But when we do the calculation and when we do the site preparation, we start calculating how much bandwidth we need, and we actually have a plan previous to the migration that is called site remediation, where we go and we put more bandwidth, we make sure that we don't have Cat3 or GDCs or anything like this older in the site. So we account for those things in our bandwidth calculation.
And then also with with the online meeting, you're using the screen sharing and so forth and things like that? Okay.
For us, we use all those features, but one thing that helped us, we have introduced the Office Online server for PowerPoint presentation. That helps a lot with bandwidth consumption, and we are pushing hard to educate our users to present their PowerPoints the right way, not share your desktop. So that's one of the things I would you can share.
Great point. Thank you. Next question.
So faxing is a big issue, obviously coming from a hybrid environment into an IP link, Skype for Business. We're an audio codes customer as well. How have you had issues with you have users with fax machines, you ported them using audio codes type devices. Have you guys run into any issues there?
We have a fax service solution we've still left in place for sort of standalone fax systems. We've hooked off audio codes like their media pack, and we had to play with that a little bit, but in the end it's worked out.
You guys are fax.
Yeah, we do use faxes. There are some faxes that if they are too old, you had to upgrade the fax machine. Not all the faxes work, but so far we've been able to make faxes work without much challenge, a little bit of tinkering.
Which is important because the trains run on faxes.
Run on faxes.
For us, real quick, we left faxes out of Skype link, so we are routing and connecting all through audio codes or Avaya.
Yep.
So I saw in one of your presentations that you were talking about end-to-end monitoring. So I'm curious to know for all of you, what are you actually using for that, and especially for like call quality?
I mean, we don't have end-to-end monitoring. I mean, it depends on how far you want to go to say, like, you've got your Link Skype monitoring reports, which are a great place to start. You've got Statistics Manager from Microsoft, which is another tool that helps really kind of get closer to that goal. We run audio codes, Session Experience Manager, another tool. Microsoft CQM, CQD we're running. And then I think, yeah, at some point you've got to look at VMware, you've got to look at the server performance. I mean, like, this is the challenge of trying to get all that together to really get it, but I think you sort of start out in one place and then kind of dive down into those systems as you get it, but that's about the best thing I could say.
For us, the closest we got to end-to-end is AudioCodes EMS. So that's the most complete picture for us currently. But as the colleague said, we have to use many, many different tools. So.
Go ahead.
Just real quick, I would just say that same as Eugene, we use our complaints from our users sometimes as the canary in the coal mine. They tend to fix all of our WAN and LAN issues because it's Skype that uncovers that first. But we still have some maturity to go there with monitoring. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to say that the time has run out. So we're going to, if you want, continue taking questions here. But I really want to thank the panelists, Silvina, Joe, Yasmin, Eugene, thank you very much, and Eric.